Hello, dear students. Most welcome. Jai Hind. Very good morning. Welcome back to our e-learning session. Today, in this particular chapter number 6, we are again going to discuss one of the most important life process. You know very well that in our previous lectures, we have studied about three life processes in detail. We have studied about nutrition, one of the most important life process every living organism has to perform for their survival, be it unicellular or multicellular, no matter. Then we have discussed about one another life process also, that is respiration, which is essential for the transport of those respiratory gases in our body, that is inhalation of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide from our body. We have already studied it. Then in last lecture, if you can remember, we have studied about another most important life process, that is transportation. Actually, the word utilized at that time, if I don't remember if I mentioned, dear student, as far as we animals are concerned, most probably the word utilized is a little different. We are utilizing word circulation. As far as plants are concerned, we are utilizing some different way for transport of minerals and water. We are utilizing in higher plants the word transportation. And for the transport of food, starch produced in the leaves, which is transported to all parts of the plant. There we are utilizing a little different word. I don't remember if I mentioned that word, but you should remember translocation. Transportation is word utilized for transport of water and minerals in plant, but for transport of food produced in the leaf, the word generally utilized, that word is known as translocation of food. You understood this? Now, dear student, today we are taking a completely new topic, that is one of the most important life process in our body, in body of all living organism, that is known as excretion. First, dear student, when we are trying to understand this process of excretion, what is important for you? As far as this excretion process is concerned, first you need to basically understand the meaning of excretion. What is the meaning of excretion first? So you know very well one thing, dear student. We are just trying to understand this particular word, I must say. This particular word we are going to understand. What is meaning of excretion? Just try to understand this word. Excretion means, dear student, the process of removal of all types of waste from your body. Actually, you all know that all our cells are one type of factories in our body. All cells of our body are involved in those bio metabolic reactions. On account of all this metabolic reaction, lots of waste is produced. This waste which is produced may be in form of solid, may be in form of liquid, may be in form of gaseous. Now, dear student, this is compulsory that you have to remove all type of waste from your body, either it be solid waste or it be liquid waste or it be gaseous waste. As you all know, we have already understood two important facts. When I was explaining you human digestive system, at that time I told you that from our body solid waste removal can be done quite easily. Understand? Solid waste, dear student. Understand? We know the removal of solid waste from our body. Solid waste can be easily removed by large intestine. We have studied it in detail that large intestine play a very important role in removal of that solid waste from our body. Now, dear student, in our body, you all know that gaseous waste is also produced. That is when you inhale oxygen and when that oxygen is utilized in our body for the oxidation of those glucose molecule in the cell, lots of energy produced, but at the same time, dear student, not only energy is produced, but at the same time, some gaseous waste like carbon dioxide gas is also produced, which needs to be removed from our body. You all know that we have explained you that is human respiratory system, you know, and actually the human respiratory system explains you how the gaseous exchange take place and we throw out carbon dioxide from our body. Similarly, dear student, this way the process of removal of solid waste and the process of removal of gaseous waste easily occur in our body, and we have got a specific organ system designed for that. For removal of solid waste, we have human digestive system. Means in all animal there is digestive system, and for removal of gaseous waste, all animal, most of we are talking of multicellular complex, we have got a particular organ system known as respiratory system. No doubt, different living organism possess different way to tackle with it. Okay. Now, dear student, in today's lecture, what I am targeting is this particular topic. This is the topic I want to target today. What is written in our cell, metabolic reactions are taking place. On account of these metabolic processes, lots of nitrogenous waste is produced in our body. What is that nitrogenous waste, dear student? It can be, you can say, urea, uric acid, etc. This nitrogenous waste produced in our body, understand? See, dear student, even sometime you must have experienced this when you urinate. The smell of the urine, understand, is exactly similar to nitrogen because that nitrogenous urinary waste is produced in our cell. Now that nitrogenous urinary waste consisting of urea, uric acid, etc., needs to be thrown out of our body, dear student. And for that purpose, in our body, we have got a highly complex excretory system. You know that. And that excretory system in our body is known as kidney, that you all know, human kidney, dear student. Understand? Now remember one thing, when we are talking of higher class living organisms, at the same time we are talking of also lower class organisms. If you can remember, we have studied in uh, nutrition in amoeba that how amoeba throws out the waste produced in her cell. I must speak. So via the process of diffusion, as you all know. So dear student, in most of the lower organism, there is not highly complicated fabricated organ system for removal of this excretory waste, but in we in higher class living organism possess a special type of excretory system for removal of this nitrogenous waste from our body. Lower class organism has different way to throw out this waste from their body by mostly the process of diffusion through their body surface. You understood? Now we are trying to understand, dear student, human excretory system. Let me show you the most important organ in our body, dear student. Kidney. You all know one thing very well, that human being has got a pair of kidney. There are two kidneys, two reddish brown kidneys. Understand? We have got a pair of kidney, dear student. Two kidneys you can see here. Where are these kidneys located? So these kidneys are located in our abdominal cavity. This pair of kidney, dear student, are just almond dumbbell shaped, you can see. Both these kidneys are working together simultaneously in our body. What is the function of kidney? That is just, dear student, they are one type of microfilters gifted to us. Kidney does the function of removal of this nitrogenous urinary waste from our blood, because in most of the metabolic reactions in cell, whatever nitrogenous waste is produced, that is thrown in bloodstream, and this bloodstream contain this urinary nitrogenous waste which floats in the blood plasma. This urinary waste, dear student, needs to be filtered from blood, and this process take place in human kidney. See, I am showing you here. If you can observe first, dear student, pair of kidney, that we know. Now try to understand, dear student, what is written here. The most important word, if you can note down what is written here, vena cava. Just you read this word, vena cava. What is actually function of vena cava? You all know very well, dear student, that which are those organs which help in the process of removal of waste from our body. The lungs for removal of gaseous waste, intestine for removal of solid waste, but for urinary waste, dear student, our blood before reaching to heart for removal of gaseous waste will go in kidney for removal of that nitrogenous waste. So, dear student, it is written that this vena cava collects impure blood containing urinary waste. This impure blood containing urinary waste travel in vena cava. This is vena cava. I am just rolling my finger, dear student. And this vena cava, you all know, dear student, one thing very well, that main vein always divide into small branches we call veins. Understand what happens? Can you see this renal vein? This is also renal vein. So what happens actually, that blood containing urinary waste via vena cava enters into kidney. In kidney, dear student, there are such microscopic filtration unit which we are going to discuss just now in later half of this lecture, which actually does the function of removal of that nitrogenous urinary waste from our blood after the impure blood has entered in kidney. It is getting processed in kidney, means urine is separated from blood. Then pure blood, dear student, returns back from kidney into renal artery. Can you remember the word? See, renal artery. Here also you can see renal artery from back. So pure blood from which urine is already filtered out, now that pure blood travels in this renal artery, understand, and you can see aorta. So this is the process. Now what happens? Try to understand. After the urine is separated from blood, filtered, then it goes to ureter. If you can note down this, it goes to ureter, dear student. From ureter, as you know, it goes to urinary bladder, then urethra. When your urinary bladder and urethra gets completely filled by urinary waste, your brain senses it and orders you to go for the urination. You know this? So actually, dear student, the main function occurs here in kidney. In kidney, actually, what is the mechanism there in kidney which does the process of filtering urine from blood? So that is what we are going to study now. What is actually inside kidney, dear student? What is there inside kidney which help in the filtration of urine from blood? Let us try to understand it. Okay, let me explain you the structure of nephron. See, dear student, let me explain you the structure of nephron. Can you see this now? This is nephron, dear student. Actually, you must first clear this also. Renal vein, dear student, enters our kidney carrying impure blood. So this renal vein, when enters our kidney, this is what such type of microscopic unit are present in our kidney. In our both kidney, almost 10 lakh such microscopic unit are there. Now, first, dear student, what you should target is, first you just concentrate. See here, this is the transfer section of the kidney. This red part, which you can see, dear student, is actually showing you that renal vein. Try to understand this. This is also explained here. Understood? Renal artery, if you can see this red part, this is renal artery, dear student. Okay, this renal artery is entering the kidney carrying impure blood, if you can see this properly. Now actually, what is the structure in our kidney? First try to understand. Your first concentration has to be only on this yellowish part, dear student. This is the structure of your nephron. The front part of nephron, can you see this? It is cup-shaped structure known as, this is actually known as, see, this cup-shaped structure is known as Bowman's capsule, dear student. This one. This is Bowman's capsule. Then you can just roll out this way. This is this U-shaped structure, if you can see. This is called loop of Henle, this one. Then this part, distal convoluted tube, dear student. Okay, and this is the way you can see this complete structure. Descending limb of loop, ascending limb of loop. Actually, you have to concentrate on this cup-shaped structure known as Bowman's capsule. Then this is proximal convoluted tube. This one is called proximal convoluted tube. This is Henle's loop, and this is distal convoluted tube, dear student, and these are collecting tubule. This is collecting tubule, which you can see. Now what process take place, dear student? Can you note down two words here? See what is written, efferent arteriole, and what is written here, afferent arteriole. Please see this. This is written afferent arteriole, and this is written efferent arteriole. Now this renal artery, when enters in Bowman's capsule, what you can see, that is called, actually it is a arterial capillary making a great convoluted structure known as glomerulus. Means, try to understand, dear student. Here there is a thin convoluted structure formed by arterial capillaries. Now what happens? This is arteriole entering into Bowman capsule. This is arteriole coming out. There is difference in the diameter of both these. Afferent arteriole has more diameter, means it is thicker tube. It has more diameter. Efferent arteriole has less diameter. This is very important for you to understand. This tube there, so afferent arteriole is little thicker. This efferent arteriole is little thinner. So actually, what type of mechanism is created here, that you need to understand. Because of difference in diameter, means one arteriole is thicker and one arteriole is thinner. Afferent arteriole has more diameter than the efferent arteriole. So what happens, dear student? Obviously you can say that in glomerulus, means in this convoluted structure of capillary, blood enter more and blood leave will be less. You understood this, what I want to say? More blood, because this tube is thicker. This tube is thinner, so more blood will enter glomerulus and less blood will leave glomerulus, because from here the blood will come with great pressure. The blood leaves will be less, more input, less output. This create, dear student, one type of pressure in glomerulus. So what is actually happening, that in glomerulus, suppose I just draw one artery here, just arterial capillary, suppose arterial capillary, I am just enlarging and showing you here. Blood will flow with great pressure in this arterial capillaries. Here I am showing why. Because afferent arteriole has more diameter than efferent arteriole. So because blood flow with great pressure in capillary in glomerulus, what happens, dear student? Try to understand this, very important. From the blood, this wall of the capillary are such that they are semi-permeable, will only allow only urinary component to flow out of it. So diffusion process take place here, dear student, when the blood here in this glomerulus is moving with high pressure, urinary waste get filtered out from the wall of this capillary. Blood continues to flow this way, but because it flows with pressure, what happens, dear student? Because it flows with pressure, try to understand a very important thing. Understand? Because it flows with pressure, blood, this is going to happen, dear student. Okay? Because blood flows with pressure from the wall of the capillary which I have shown here, the urinary component filter out from the walls of the capillary. This urinary component, nitrogenous waste, etc., which is filtering out, will now, this try to understand, dear student, nitrogenous waste has already been filtered out, means urine. This urine which is filtered out now travel here. Understand, now urine is traveling here. Try to understand. Urine now travel throughout the structure of the nephron. As my pen roll, you try to understand the urinary nitrogenous waste is traveling throughout here. Okay, it is traveling here. Now what happens, dear student? The blood, urine is traveling here. So from the blood in this glomerulus, urinary waste has been taken out. Now pure blood will come out from here, and pure blood will travel in this. Try to understand. Pure blood will travel in this artery. See, can you see this? Pure blood is traveling in this artery. Then pure blood comes in these venules and returns to this venule capillary, means renal vein. So actually somewhere, dear student, if you can see the location, see here, here also artery stick to the nephron structure, artery is sticking to it, artery is sticking to it. So actually what happens, dear student, as urine is separated and it travel here at junction point where blood actually is flowing in this, and here urine is flowing in this. So at this junction point, dear students, sometime reabsorption take place, because it happened that when blood filters out, or sorry, when urine filters out, at that time sometime it happen also that along with the urinary waste, some useful component also, dear student, filters out from blood. Suppose this is blood here, understand, and when urinary waste throw out by the process of diffusion from the wall of this capillary, so some useful component also, dear student, like protein, then I must mention glucose, then amino acids, some of the most important component also, dear student, get filtered along with the urine. But those component which has got filtered from the blood along with the urinary waste needs to be again reabsorbed, because they are not to throw out of our body, dear student, because it needs to be protected in our body, it needs to be kept in our body. So actually what happens, try to understand this, how the reabsorption take place. Suppose I show you, suppose, dear student, I just show you this section. Suppose we just try to understand this section. Suppose in this urinary waste is traveling, and here I saw just a section of artery. This is artery. In this, dear student, urine is traveling. Urine is traveling here. In this, blood is traveling, that you all know. Here, urine is traveling in nephron structure. Here, blood is traveling, dear student. Now, as urine is traveling in this and blood is traveling in this I must utilize the word, this one, I am utilizing the word junction point, dear student. This is junction point. This one. Here at junction point, what happens? The process of reabsorption take place. What is the process of reabsorption? This blood which is flowing in this artery will reabsorb from traveling urine the necessary component like protein, glucose, amino acid are reabsorbed, and this reabsorbed component along with the blood travel in renal vein. From renal vein, dear student, it goes to vena cava, you know, and this vena cava goes to our heart. Understand? So this way, dear student, try to understand the very important process which you must know, that this process, though in your textbook it is not mentioned properly, but I must say this process of reabsorption is very important, dear student. This reabsorption has to take place properly. Understand? Once the reabsorption take place, then and then the important component from blood get filtered out. Those important component has to be separated from that traveling urine, and that is done by this junction point. These are some junction point I must show you. Understand? These are junction point, dear student, where where arteries and are joined. Understand? Here, right? So here the reabsorption is going to take place from this traveling urine. The blood at this junction point will absorb necessary nutrient, that is glucose, amino acid, protein, etc. You understood this, dear student? Then this urine gets collected this way, dear student. These are collecting tubule from other nephron coming, from other nephron it is coming here, from other nephron. This way urine from all nephron collect in this collecting tube. From collecting tube it travel to, as you know, we have studied it, from collecting tubule, try to understand, dear student, it travel in ureter. Okay, then from ureter, you all know very well, from ureter. Okay, I have explained you this already. From ureter it goes to urinary bladder, urethra, and then it is thrown out of our body. This is the whole process, dear student, are taking place in our body. So you need to understand the structure of nephron in detail, how it works. Main mechanism, dear student, is created here, that you all know. This mechanism, this is the difference in diameter, will allow the blood to flow through great pressure, and because the wall of the capillary glomerulus in that is designed in such a way that the urinary component while passing get filtered out, and that urine travels in this structure. But before the urine is thrown out from collecting tube to ureter, urinary bladder, and urethra, reabsorption process take place. And during this reabsorption process, most of those useful components like glucose, amino acid, protein, etc. is reabsorbed from our blood. Understood? So this is the process of, dear student, of excretion, how the urinary component are separated. Okay, So in today's lecture, dear student, I have explained you the topic of one of the most important process, that is removal of excretory waste from our body. So with this chapter 6 get completed here, dear student. In chapter number 6, we have studied with this lecture four types of life process. We have studied nutrition, we have studied respiration, we have studied transportation, and today we have targeted and studied the process of excretion. Dear student, you need to understand how to draw the structure of nephron also. So please be watchful, understand, and even during the lecture, when you are attending the lecture, please try to just concentrate on the diagram. First, my suggestion is that if you want to draw the diagram, dear student, always remember one thing. For drawing a proper diagram, you should first concentrate on this renal vein, and first you draw this yellow structure, then this arteries and convoluted venual structure and vein that you draw after. First you concentrate on this. Good diagram also will give you ability to remember the answer properly. So with this, dear student, we are completing the topic of excretion, and with this we are completing your chapter number 6. Okay, in biology, most important and one of the longest chapter, chapter number 6, where most probably in board one big answer is always asked from this chapter. So prepare the topic explained today. In homework, dear student, two topic you will be doing. First topic, write a short note on human excretory system, dear student. The first one, and second one, draw ultrastructure of nephron and explain the process of urine formation. Two questions are also mentioned in our Sawal Hamara Jawab Tumhara section. So two short note to be written by you. You understood one thing, okay? One another, dear student, no doubt in textbook it is mentioned the process of dialysis. You all must be knowing, dear student, that some people whose both the kidneys are partially working or sometimes 90% get damaged, every week they have to do the dialysis. That's the process of removal of urinary waste. Understand? See, one a cut is made here, and from vein, when vein passes through this, understand, urine is separated from this membrane and then blood returns. You have to every week go for dialysis if your kidneys are damaged to irreparable amount. Okay, dear students. So with this, we are completing the topic of excretion in animal. Okay, dear student, complete your homework. Write, practice diagram, understand the content properly. That will help you, and when you try to draw a good diagram will always help you to understand and answer precisely. Okay, thank you very much.